Okay, I'm gonna get real with you guys for a sec. So it's the 1st of September and it is crazy to think that we started our Kickstarter campaign back in April this year with less than 2 weeks before the album is finally finished. I wanted to give you guys a quick update and share with you what the process of making this album has been like. While I'll be kind of glad to see the back of this crazy schedule that has dictated my life for the past 4 months, it's a feeling of both relief and excitement more than anything. I'm not relieved to be stopping recording. I'm not relieved to be finally finishing this album or anything like that. I'm relieved to be able to have some time to reflect on the whole thing. I'm more excited than anything to just share this kind of body of work that I've been working on really on and off for the past 2 years, more intensely this year obviously, but it really is something that I'm proud of. It has been a crazy year this year anyway, and I'm so grateful to have been able to meet some of you guys along the way. For those of you that came to the B.R.A.V.E show, oh my god, you're all adorable. I freaking love you. Day one for this album started 2 years ago in 2015. So I just moved back to Coventry. I'd taken on my live streaming full-time as well as my music, and I was writing songs every single day, and I was feeling mega inspired. And one day I'd written this song called B.R.A.V.E. Back then it sounded a lot different to what it's gonna sound like on this album, but that's where it all started. After writing that song, I was really kind of happy and kind of rooted down to that concept of bravery and kind of sharing experiences and adventures and things like that. So I'd always had it kind of drafted or underlined as a potential concept for an album whenever I was ready. I did get a little bit ahead of myself back here when I posted this video, which was an announcement video for this new album that I was making. This video took place in the old studio, and this was back when I was writing songs every day and I was just caught up in the moment of everything. But then some stuff happened, mostly good stuff. So after a year in this old house with the studio, myself and James came to the decision that we wanted to go for our very first house together. And so the upheaval began, and we had to kind of dig up everything that we'd already built in the studio that had only been there for probably less than a year now that I think about it. And we had to start thinking about moving into this new house that wasn't even built yet. So a lot of things got put on hold back then, including the album. So while this house that I'm sitting in now was being built, we moved back in with parents, and we were very limited to the space we had and where we could write songs, and it proved to be very, very difficult. However, we did manage to write and compose and record Second Chances, a single that I released last year in James's parents' dining room. No professional recording studio there, just a home environment that we recorded that song in, and we released that last year. It did really, really well, so thank you to everybody that picked that up. Second Chances will be on the B.R.A.V.E album in November, by the way. So during the upheaval of moving out of our old house and waiting around for this house to be built, which, oh my god, is stressful. If you're buying your very first house, I feel for you, but you'll get through it. It's worth it in the end. During all of that, while it was happening, I found that I did a lot of my writing away from where we were staying. So away from us living at our parents', I'd be writing on the road, whether we were traveling to a show or whether we were in New York or Amsterdam or wherever we were. That's when I was doing my writing. As a songwriter, I've never kind of done that as much as I have in the past 2 years. Maybe it's because I've been traveling more. Usually I'm used to kind of sitting there in my environment and cracking on with the song I'm writing, but no, this time round for this whole album, I was more motivated to kind of like get out and experience something that I hadn't seen yet, which was really refreshing. So throughout 2016, the majority of the songwriting for the album took place then, and it kind of is rooted in a lot of excitement that was happening. That year was very exciting for me. There were so many things happening here at home, with family, with friends, with us moving into our first house together, with you now, with traveling. A lot of things were happening, and so a lot of kind of experiences and stress and happiness and anxiety and excitedness would kind of come out in my lyrics for these songs. It was a busy year, and it's kind of rolled over into 2017 too, which I'm very grateful for. And I don't think I've ever worked as hard as I have this year and last year than I ever have in my entire life. And it's because I've wanted this album to really succeed. Sometimes it feels a bit weird and surreal for me because I have to kind of take a step back and assess what my life has become. And really, it's just me sat here playing on acoustic guitar, coming up with these songs, whether I'm writing them in a notebook or on a laptop, whatever. And like when I eventually share them with you guys, it is so encouraging to know that the endless amounts of time that I spend doing that is all worthwhile. So at the beginning of this year, we came to the final decision that we wanted to release an album. I had this massive collection of songs that I'd written in just that year, and they all kind of seemed to connect in one way or another. And it just made sense to create a body of work and content to share with you guys to enjoy. So that was it. We were going to make an album. However, there were some ifs and some buts. We'd just bought a new house, and if we were going to release an album, we wanted to be able to release it properly and have a budget behind us. The only budget we've ever had to spare to spend on promoting my music was for one single, and that was for Cherry on Top in 2014. Though we only spent £200 to promote that single, it did exceptionally well. So that kind of made us think of the possibilities of what if we had a bigger budget? What would be possible then? Between myself and James, we knew that when it came to recording this album, that we could do it ourselves. We wouldn't need a budget to hire out a studio. We already had the equipment that we'd been saving up for over the years. Between us, we have varying levels of expertise, James in audio, myself in graphic design. So we knew we didn't need a budget for studio time or for mixing and mastering or for any of the graphic work. So we knew that if we did somehow find the funding for this album, that we wouldn't need to spend it on any of those things. We could push it all towards the one thing that we couldn't do between ourselves, which was PR. And that's where the idea of our Kickstarter campaign was kind of born. I'd heard about other artists, and especially independent artists, that had been reaching out to their audiences in order to, collect some funding for whatever project they had on. And then I came across a TED talk by Amanda Palmer called The Art of Asking, and it was a really interesting watch. You guys should go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. And after watching that, it really pushed me over the edge to come to you guys, my supporters, the people that have been with me for a very long time, to see if you wanted to help make my creation a reality. Thankfully you did, so thank you very much to everybody again for your kindness and your support and your loyalty, and just for allowing me to be what I know I am, a creative person, and just somebody who thrives off making music. I can't explain it. It's weird. A lot of people don't necessarily look to music as a job. A lot of you guys who maybe are younger may have told your parents, oh, I want to be a musician when you're older. Maybe your parents have said to you, you can't make money out of music. I've met people like that. But you have to understand that music can be a job if you are absolutely 100% passionate about it. Having said that, without your support and your kindness and your lovely tweets and your lovely snaps and coming into my broadcast every day, without any of that, it would kind of be a lot less fun and a lot less encouraging for me to write music. So you guys play a big part of what I do every day, and I hope you know that. And it's reflected well, I think, in the album and the songs I've written. So yeah, there we go. Another key stress factor in the midst of all of this, let me share with you my point of view here. I'm an independent and unsigned songwriter who writes commercial pop music. And the competition in the pop realm is fairly crazy. The many artists out there already that, are releasing commercial pop music have an obscene team behind them helping them make it happen. And I don't even want to think about the cash flow behind that kind of an artist like that. It's incredible. Now I definitely don't have, and probably never will have, that level of cash flow behind me and my music. I definitely don't have a team of people whose expertise lie within the music industry and its many branches. This is a team of 2 people working together, myself and James, who have always been passionate about writing commercial pop music. Having said that, we do have a very passionate team behind us. That's you guys who have always supported us and pushed us to kind of, release things like what we're releasing this year. We are out to prove as a team of 2 that my songs can hold their own against the commercial songs that you guys are hearing in the charts at the minute. However, don't misinterpret that for us sitting there writing songs that don't have meaning or feelings behind them, because every song that we write does. Every song on the album is rooted to personal experiences and feelings that I have kind of funneled into the songs that you'll hear on the album. We pulled a lot of friends in to get involved with this album along the way, including lots of friendly faces that some of you guys will know and recognize by now. My bestie, James Hart, who is playing saxophone on a couple of the tracks. Tom Harris, who you guys might know as my guitarist. Tom has been exceptionally awesome and has given us so much time of his to come round and record guitar parts and compose different things with us. He's co-written a lot of the guitar stuff on a lot of the tracks. So big up Tom, we love you. Tom has always been an incredible musician and a songwriter himself, and he is well sought after on the local scene. He's in so many different bands, and I'm just very grateful to have him on our team as well. He is a diamond in the rough. Another name on the album that you guys might recognize, especially if you're a You Now regular, is the Dapper Rapper. Ken is an incredibly talented individual. If you haven't been in his broadcast yet, you are missing out. I used to watch him maybe 2 years ago when I was just first starting out on the platform, and he's always just blown me away. And I had the pleasure of meeting him quite a couple of times when we've been out in the US, and I was very thankful for him to, accept to be on the album. So it's such a pleasure to have him on it. Check out the track when it comes out. It's called Put Me Out. After coming down a little bit from the high of reaching our Kickstarter goal, which we surpassed, by the way, you guys are incredible, it was finally time to gear ourselves up to getting the thing recorded. Along the way, we had no other choice but to reschedule some of the release dates that we'd initially kind of drafted in, and there were a few reasons behind this. The main reasons were that the 2 studios that we had planned to record in, we could no longer record in them anymore. And so for a couple of months there, this room that you see behind me now became our little workspace for working on the album, and a lot of the remnants are still lying in the background there. I still don't have my living room fully back yet, which is fine by me, I guess. So we were confident working here from home on the album every day. We got into a groove, it worked really well, and it was like that for kind of 2 months or so. And then another opportunity opened up where we could go into another studio and kind of take all of our stuff away from here and get set up again properly in a larger studio space where we could really make some noise. One of the things with working from home, whether you do music or whether you run your own business, is that sometimes it's hard to separate your work life from your home life. And especially with our studio pretty much set up in the center of our living room, it was very difficult to kind of separate that home and work dynamic for 2 months there. Quite a few people have asked me whether or not myself and James, because we're partners and we work so closely together all the time, whether we have any kind of, whether there's friction there, whether our kind of work life spills over into our personal lives. What I would say is we talk about our work in general a lot of the time, and I think it's because we're passionate about it. It hasn't ever really necessarily, as far as I can see, affected our personal lives. I know that kind of doesn't work with some people. A lot of people in relationships don't work well together if they have to work together. But we do. We've always been a really good team. So thank you for your questions on that. I hope that clarifies that. So those 2 months were really intense. We were kind of living and breathing this album, and you know, it kind of got a little bit stressful at times. I won't lie to you, I'm being real here. It was very stressful, especially when I had to kind of broadcast every single day as well, but we got through it. We got it done. However, when we moved into this other studio space, things just opened up again. I'd say it's different if you have a dedicated space in your home where you can work from. For example, my studio upstairs where I usually broadcast from with the brick wall behind me, that is a dedicated space for my broadcasting and my YouTube videos. It's not necessarily a big enough room for 2 people, 3 people to sit in there and, you know, work on an album. So that's why we had to move it to the living room. Thankfully, we're almost out of here now. I am the queen of not being organized. I'm just not good at it. And in these final 2 weeks, we are working in the new studio space, a studio which is actually owned and being built as we speak by our friends Dave and Russ, who are wonderful people. You guys should go check out Russ's band, Return the Favor. So big shout outs to those guys. Dave has been incredible to us. And yeah, I guess that kind of concludes my little diary entry of what the album process has been like. There's certainly been some highs and lows. It hasn't all been plain sailing. Usually creative processes like this aren't. There are highs and there are lows in anything that you do, especially when you're working towards a body of work that, you know, you really want to be proud of. So I've been happy to experience those highs and those lows, and I think it will be reflected quite well on the album. So I hope you guys enjoy it when you hear it. Also, the other week I invited you guys to take part in the recording of my album, more specifically the title track B.R.A.V.E, and naturally you guys sprang to mind. You did such a good job chanting at the show that we were like, we need to get Team McGann on this. So thank you for all of your submissions. Your chants sound amazing. Keep your ears open for them on the actual song itself. So the album is being released in November. We've had to jiggle around some dates again to make the release date work for us. Unfortunately, the 10th of November turned out that it was a no-go. Unfortunately, the biggest pop star in the world, Taylor Swift, is releasing her album on that day, and it seemed like PR suicide to release anything on that day. So we have decided that November 24th, you guys, is our official release date. Towards the end of September, you guys will finally be able to pre-order the album on iTunes. The set lists to both of the discs on the album will be released, so you'll be able to see it all and kind of get an idea of what you can expect. There's 2 separate kind of feels to the album that I think a lot of you guys are going to really enjoy. There's some contrasting stories and themes under the umbrella of B.R.A.V.E. So I don't think I can say any more. The only clue I can kind of give you is that the hair is a clue. The red and the blue. That's your only clue. So there we have it. There was my little diary entry. I hope you guys enjoyed me getting real for a sec there and explaining the process and what it's been like for me. It has been a good opportunity for me to vent some frustrations and my excitement for you guys to finally hear this thing that I've been working on for so long. I'm so excited for you guys to hear it. Thank you again for your support. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, drop a comment below with maybe a song that you're excited to hear on the album. Let us know where you guys buy your music, whether it's on iTunes, whether you stream on Spotify, or whether you're old school and you prefer the physical CD in your hand. Make sure you guys click on that bell on my profile so you're notified of any of my future YouTube uploads, and make sure you guys have my notifications turned on over on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much, and album soon. Cool. Take care. Bye.